Thank you, everyone, for coming. What a great turnout. Obviously, a very relevant topic. You're not surprised, I'm sure. So this is Sherry Shockey-Pope, and she created Therapist in a Box because she wanted to fill a need in helping graduate students set their foundation and guide new therapists in business building. She believes all therapists can create a successful, profitable, and flourishing practice. Sherry is co-owner of Central Counseling Services, a successful and vibrant group practice in Riverside, California. She has been licensed since 2000. Her practice serves over 625 clients a month, and she supervises a staff of 15 associates and licensed clinicians. Sherry is a long-standing RECAMFT member, and she has served as president of the Inland Empire in 2016 to 2018 and is a current board member. So thank you so much for coming.
Perfect. Well, with so many of you in private practice, we can just have a round table discussion, right? Because I don't know what I'm going to tell you. Right. My background, I started in CPS. I put in 27 years in CPS, which means I started my practice when I was 10. And then I decided that I was done with agency work, government work. I was tired. I'm not very good at being an employee. And I didn't get in trouble a lot, but I got really bad looks quite frequently. So I decided that I would open up my own practice. Currently, we have 2 locations. We opened one in South County in Riverside and one in Riverside, and I supervise 30 people. I have 25 therapists, and then I have some support staff, and then I have associates now. So I'm busy, but this is what I really love to do more than anything else. So let's get started. So today we want to talk a little bit about the ethical and legal responsibilities of being in a private practice. When you're with an agency, you have this big book, and it says, do this, don't do this, do this, don't do this. In private practice, you can do things a little bit differently, but we still have ethics. And we still have standards that we must meet. And I heard a lot of you were on insurance panels, and insurance panels, as many of you may know, can come in at any time and say, I want to see your records. And so we have to have and we have to maintain a standard, right? We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about online presence and the ethics in regarding to that. And we're going to talk about the proper work environment for you. Because ultimately, if you're unhappy, your clients are unhappy. Also, we're going to talk about developing specialists, because if you are a specialist and you niche down, you're working with people that you like. And we'll talk about marketing your business and the pitfalls, and then how to create networking relationships. But it seems like you guys do pretty well on that, because you guys are all talking to each other. Okay, so why don't we know more about how to open a business? In my graduate program, we didn't get anything on business building at all. Now, if I was a chiropractor or an eye doctor or some other physical therapist, they actually have classrooms that have business schools. We didn't get that. So running a business does take a lot of work. It's not as easy as going to an agency. However, it can be exceedingly helpful and profitable. Sorry. Business can be boring, so some people don't want to do it, and that's fine. I hate numbers. That's why people say they don't want to go, because we're all social workers or LMFTs, and we don't do numbers. That's why we went into this field, right? So I can't do business because I don't do numbers. We have money issues. We have a ceiling. We always talk about things that hold us back, right? But we also have a ceiling of success. And so we need to think about, can we really be successful? Are we working at being successful? So think about where you stop. I know for us, when we made $500,000, it was like good. Then when we hit that part, 800, and then we made $1 million, it was like, okay, I'm done. That was my ceiling. I had to rethink that. So the same thing is that we have to think about success. Hate marketing. How many of you hate marketing? Yeah, half the room, right? Some people are very good at it, some people aren't. But I'm going to tell you about things that you can do that are really good. And those of you who are introverts, it doesn't hurt, I promise. And then we just don't know where to start. When I started my practice, I started laying the foundation in 2008, 2009. And I went on Amazon and I bought all the books that were there, and there was 3 of them. That was it. And they told me things, but they didn't tell me, trying to get out of the way there. They didn't tell me how to really do it and what to really do. Okay. All right, so one of our blocks is we need to figure out what our perfect day looks like. How do we want to have our day? I left some sheets in the back there that talk about your perfect day. And I usually use this exercise about every 6 months to try to figure out where I'm going with my practice, how I'm moving forward, where's my vision going. And your success in your practice will look different. Your perfect day will look different. And at different times and stages in our lives, our perfect day will look different. So there are things that maybe you want in your perfect day. Maybe you want to exercise in the morning. Maybe you want particular clients that you see. Maybe you only want to work 1 day a week. Maybe you want to work 4 days a week. We started recently, we added a Sunday to my private practice. I thought, who wants to come to therapy on Sunday? That's full. It's a full day. Who knew? We want to make the world a better place. We want to be able to see our spouse. So think about those ideas that generate happiness for you, that makes it easy for you to get up in the morning and feel excited about going to work. Right? Also, when you're doing this exercise, put in as much detail as possible, because then you can see it, you could vision it. And if you could see it and vision it, you can make it happen. So the next thing I need you to think about, though, is what is success? What does success mean for you? For me, it's different than it is for you. When I was a social worker for the county, I asked one of my birth moms, I said, she was placing her baby, and she said to me, I want a family that's rich. I said, okay. How much money is rich? About $40,000. Okay, now my rich was way up here. But her rich was, she wanted a family for her baby that made that much because she felt that was enough to be successful. So our success will be different for everybody. And so only you can define what you feel is successful. Again, though, this may change as you change what you want to do and where you're growing. So, agency or private practice. So for a while I did both. That's a little bit of a struggle, but I did both. But agency is not a bad place to work, right? Private practice is not a bad place to work. It really depends on where you are and what connection you have, where you're wanting to put your time, where you're wanting to put your money. So the advantages to agency work include a set schedule. They tell you when to work. There's someone who's there to help you. In my office, when people have a crisis, I'm the one they come to. There's a chain of command. There's some direct supervision. You want to change the world? Right? We want less risk. And here's a big one. We want medical benefits, retirement, dental, for ourselves and for our family. Right? Hard work is overrated. Don't want to do it. Have a better play life. Right? You don't like conflict. You just want to go and go to work and go do therapy and go home. You have a lot more administrative duties in private practice than you do in working as an agency. And so some people just want to go in, do their job, and go home, and that's perfectly fine. Right? Things in life are fine, and you just enjoy doing what you do. A steady paycheck, and there's absolutely no overhead. Those are good reasons to stay or work for an agency. But if you want a private practice, life is either daring adventure or nothing at all. Private practice, it goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. And if you can't live with that volatility, then maybe private practice isn't for you. But why do we go into private practice? We want freedom of schedule. We want to be our own boss. I like being the boss of me. Isn't it fun? We can work less hours, but in reality, I usually probably work as many hours as I did for the agency. And to be successful. Now, the good news is that with my private practice, I can take off when I want to. If my kids had a school event, I can take off for that. For our annual shareholders meeting at my office, we go on a major cruise every year, all tax deductible. That you can't do in an agency. I can see, or you can see the clients that you want to see. Only see clients that you enjoy. In an agency, you come in and here's your files and those are the clients. With private practice, you can do an intake or talk to people on the phone, and you can decide, this isn't a good fit for me. Maybe this isn't the right insurance. Maybe I just don't have any idea how to work with this client. You can refer out without fear of penalty. In an agency, sometimes you're penalized if you don't have so much service time, and you can't sometimes reject the clients that you're getting. You can set the number of clients in your day. You want to only have 3 clients a day within half an hour in between, you got that advantage. If you want to do 4 clients a day, you want to do 6 clients a day, I have one therapist who does 9 in a row and then goes home. They work 1 day a week. You're an entrepreneur at heart. You enjoy the challenge of it. You enjoy working out of your comfort zone. This is probably one of the things that I do all the time. And any private practice owner will tell you, there's things that you do and they're great and you feel good about it, and then there's things that you're going, oh, I hope I can do this. I hope this works, right? You're allergic to cubicles. You want to change the world. You're passionate about learning. Private practice is about learning because things are changing. Social media, it came on the site. We have to be careful of how we talk to clients. We have to make sure that we have our forms updated. There's just things that are always changing, and we have to make sure that's our responsibility now. When we work for an agency, California did it for you, or your county did it, or whoever we worked for did it. You can't stand working 8 to 5. I don't work 8 to 5. Probably haven't worked 8 to 5 in many years. But that doesn't mean I'm not working that long hours. Your creativity doesn't fit in an agency job or a government job. In my county, I had some ability to make some programs that were good for the county and the clients that we served, but I couldn't do a lot of what I wanted to do because of the constraints of the county. And not that it was bad, it just, that's what they did and how they did it, right? So, one of the things I hear from most people is, I can't have a private practice because I cannot make enough money. And when we went to graduate school, we did not take a vow of poverty. Now, I'm not saying that we have to make a lot of money and be with the computer geeks, but I think we can make enough money for most of us to be pretty happy and satisfied. So, I know this is very small, so I'm sorry. If you wanted to make, let's say, $100,000, and you were going to only work 48 weeks a year. And the reason I say 48 is you need vacation time. We all need vacation time. And let's say that I'm going to work 4 days a week because I don't want to work 5 anymore. And then I'm going to have 5 clients a day. That still gives me 2 hours or so to do paperwork, follow up, make phone calls, things like that, right? And my cost per session only has to be $104.15. Most of us command at least $104.15, except maybe if you're on some small insurance companies. But this is what, in our county anyway, this is what Medi-Cal pays, right? So that means that you have to make $520 per week or $520 per day, 75 cents per day, or $2,083.33 per week, right? Per month. So, no, I did not factor taxes into that. So if you want $100,000, you take off probably $30,000 for taxes. Yeah, this is per week. Yeah. If you want to do $150,000, your session cost would have to be $156.26. So when you break it down and you sort of back engineer it, it doesn't seem as daunting. But we're still looking probably here at $35,000 for taxes, maybe 38, because taxes go up and down, right? And it also will depend on your business structure. If you're a corporation versus an S corp versus a partnership, those kinds of things matter. But let's say that you can't earn $156 because insurance only pays $66. So there's things that you can do to supplement that income within your private practice. So the first thing is you can do a group. You can have $25 per session at 8 members is $200 an hour. That drops that per session group on your individual significantly. right? You could always do, well, in our office, what we found successful were artist way groups, codependent groups, and teens. Our teen group is almost always full. We have to turn people away sometimes. We only try to do 12 at a time, but we've had as many as, I think, 18 in a group, which is unmanageable. And people will come and they'll pay $25 a week. And they do it without any hesitation. You can do an educational class. In our office, we do co-parenting. We also do parenting classes, or we do a marriage workshop. Those are all non-insurance based. And so we charge $250 for 4 weeks. And if you put 4 couples in a group, you're getting $1,000. That again drops down that individual fee, right? You can do online classes. Online classes are huge. Online classes would be considered evergreen income, meaning that you create it once, you put in all this effort, and then it just runs. And you can hook it all up electronically, people pay, you don't even have to do anything. You wake up in the morning and you have a PayPal message that says you made some money last night while you were sleeping. Those are the funnest emails ever. You can do speaking engagements. I'm here for free, but there are other speaking engagements that I have done. And you can do, not only do you get clients potentially, depending on who you're speaking to, it depends on what your lifetime of your client might be. So if you're charging $125 a session and you see clients on average of 20 sessions, your time is certainly made up for even giving free lectures in your community. Plus your community needs us. We have such a need in many communities, especially in areas that have been hit by major disasters. We just had our fire season, and there's lots and lots of people who are needing care. And so those are things that you could easily do. You can do some shared office space. I heard some of you saying, I have space in my office. Great way to earn some extra money, especially when you're not using that office. Hire clinicians in your practice. Get people to work for you. Then you can come do things like this. Or you can go for a vacation, right? Okay, so this, I know it's a very small slide, but small writing, and I had to squeeze it all because this is what CAMP says we have to talk about. This is the legal and ethical piece that we need to discuss. So part of it is, and up here is basically advertising. So what we're talking here is that we need to make sure that in anything that we're doing, we accurately regard our qualifications. So for example, if I'm an associate, I have to make sure that I'm an associate, and I have to have my license number, and I have to have my supervisor's license number. And I have to be able to do it as an AMFT or a ASW, whatever my designation happens to be. I can't fake it. We have a client, or I'm seeing a therapist who is in the board, got in trouble in the board because he misrepresented himself. He said that he was a psychologist and he wasn't. And so now he's required to go to 52 weeks of therapy. Whoops. I'm not sure that's going to fix it, but okay. We have to make sure that when our documents are incorrect, we have to take action immediately to try to correct that. So I ordered business cards for one of my therapists, and I made a mistake, and I transposed a number, which gave her the wrong license number. So until the new ones came, she was crossing everything out and putting her new license number, because that's ethically what we have to do. We have to make sure that our clients or whoever we're giving the card to understands that we are licensed and where to look to see that we're licensed. Right? If we're doing other than a DBA, so if we need to file a fictitious name. So if you're not doing your practice in your name, you have to file a fictitious business agreement. You file that with your county usually, and then it gets sometimes filed with the state. And there's a publication time frame. So you have to publish the newspaper. In our county, there's a little itty bitty newspaper that gets thrown out every, I don't know, once a week or twice a week, and you can easily advertise there. And it's, because you don't have to advertise in any particular paper. You could advertise in any paper in California. But usually there's something in your county that talks about, that usually does it for free, because some of these are $600, $700. So look around, shop around when you're doing that. False or misleading or deceptive. We cannot talk about any professional identification, including but not limited to business cards, office signs, letterhead, et cetera, telephones. So those are all things. So when we're in psychology today, if something's wrong or something's missing and we come across it, we need to try to fix it as best as possible, right? And really the rest of these also are, this whole section really is about making sure we don't misrepresent ourselves. Here is that we can't request testimonials. So if you notice on my site of Therapist Practice in a Box, I have testimonials, but I'm not doing therapy. On my CCS website, I do not have testimonials, and I haven't requested testimonials. But what I have done is we do a survey twice a year with all of our clients, and we give aggregate numbers. That we had 6,000 clients who showed up, and they all, or 10%, or only 2% of them had a bad experience with us. Or 98% had a better experience. Yes?
Can you repeat the question?
So the question was, does that apply to groups, like psychoeducational groups? Technically, no. But I believe that we should err on the side of caution, and so I always do those. I would not solicit them, and I don't put on my, here, give us a thumbs up on Facebook or anything like that. But people do leave us reviews, because many people they're review happy, and they're like more than happy to give you a review. But I don't ask for them, and I have a social media policy that we talk about. I'm not going to friend you, or you can't, different things like that. But I would include social educational, because the people who are teaching it tend to be licensed. And so personally, I think that that falls under our scope. Because even though we're doing a psychoeducational group, we're still a therapist. And that's how the audience is seeing us. Okay. Employees, we need to make sure that we have qualifications of the person. So we had one of our therapists who got in trouble with the BBS for driving under the influence. And he neglected to tell us that he was under the board's review. So we had a very long conversation about that, and eventually we dismissed him. Not because of the drunk driving charge, because he was doing that, he was taking care of that, but because he neglected to tell us. Because we would need to inform our malpractice that he's still working with us, and this is a current situation in the board. Yes?
Therapy? We're psychotherapists?
Yes, we can say we're psychotherapists. And the other, on the BBS website, you can actually download a advertisement format that shows how you can list your license and things that you need to make sure that they're on their card. And they'll show you different ways. So if you don't want to do it a particular way, it'll give you 2 or 3 different other ways to do that. Okay. You can specialize and say you're a marriage family therapist, but you must have the expertise. If you're an LPCC, you can't advertise yourself as a marriage and family therapist unless you've done those additional hours. Right? So not that you couldn't do that, but you just have to make sure you have the experience level to back that up. Okay? So when you're advertising, you can advertise that you're a CAMF member, but you have to be in good standing, and you can't make it be that I'm a CAMF member, so you should come to me, and only CAMF members. You can put that you're a member of CAMF, and you can use their logo because they give you permission. Okay. You can, the thing about CAMPs, you cannot put them in the manner behind your academic degree. So you could use the logo, but you can't make it sound like you're the president of the state CAMP, or that you're being endorsed by CAMP, or CAMP really loves you and they send all their people to you. So just be careful on that one, okay? And you must be a member. If you're not a member and you were a member and you have the logo, you have to remove it when you're no longer a member, because they can come after you. All right, so let's go back to the block number 4. In order to work with people that you like and people that you really are excited to go to work, you need to figure out what your specialties are. So the idea is to start niching down. Now, I realize when you're in private practice for the first year, you see pretty much whoever comes in the office because you have to survive. You have mortgages, you have payments to do, you have, just obligations, right? So But start thinking about when you're in session with clients, which clients are the ones that really get you excited? Which clients could you sit and listen to all day long? Or which clients come in and you're taking an intake and you already are formulating a treatment plan as they're talking, right? I know I'm not good with teens. I do not want teens in my practice, for me. Now, that doesn't mean I don't have someone who does teens in my practice, but that's just not my specialty, right? So figure out when you're sitting there, figure out what kinds of clients do you really enjoy. And as you are still building your practice, add more of those clients into your caseload. Don't just say, I can't see you because I don't have, I can't see you because I don't do that. As long as you ethically have the training to do with whatever they come in with, please do them. People that need help, we can't just be elitist. But as you continue to grow your practice, add more of the clients in that make you happy, that you really like to help. I think that part of this here is that when we are also niching down, as opposed to saying, like, have you seen people's Psychology Today profile, and on the one side they have all 50 things checked off that they can do? First of all, if I was a client, I wouldn't believe it. Because we're not all things to all people. Now, generally we can all deal with depression, generally we can all deal with anxiety, generally we can deal with relationship issues, right? But I'm not a specialist in certain areas. So I only limit my Psychology Today profile to 5 items. 5 items that I really am good at. And sometimes you could even do it down to 3. Because we're just not, if you're really specialized, you can hone down a little bit more, okay? Also, what do you do? How do you tell people what you do? Do you have sort of an elevator speech? Have you practiced that? Have you done it in front of the mirror a couple times just to kind of get it? I know it sounds silly, I know it does, but have you tried it? And the more you do it, the better it becomes. But we need to be able to say, this is the kinds of people that I work with. Because when someone says I'm a psychotherapist, people go, oh, all right. Right? And they think that you're diagnosing them. I've had people come and they say, well, are you diagnosing me all the time? I'm like, no, I'm off duty. If you are marketing more than a few specialties, it becomes a marketing nightmare because you can't continue to market to all these different people. You need to know who your clients are, and you need to know things about them. One of the exercises that I give my clients is I tell them to think about 150 things about their ideal client. Where do they go to work? What do they do for fun? Do they have children? What would be their name? Where do they hang out? What do they look like? The more you know about the clients that you want to serve, the better you can hone down your marketing, right? So think about that and try to figure out what they do. What do they read? What blogs do they read? What are they most worried about? And if you don't know, you can ask. It's okay to ask your clients, right? So write all that down and then start marketing. You can start marketing as soon as you're in your practicum. You can start telling people, I'm a therapist and this is where I work. And I work under the supervision of, right? We can do that from the very beginning. Tell everybody you know. When we started our private practice, we told everybody, even people who didn't know and didn't care. Hey, I have a private practice. Oh, that's nice. Right? But a lot of people go, oh, I know someone who really needs you. Right? And that's usually the response, more so than, I don't care what you do. Right? Also, when we opened our new practice, we went to places that our clients hang out. We went to the doctor's office, we went to the hospitals, we went to the counselors and on community colleges and said, hey, we're new in town. We just want you to know these are the services that we provide. And we developed a relationship with them. So if you were marketing 25 specialties, you can't market that way. It would be too difficult. Start writing blogs. I know therapists are like, oh, I don't want to write blogs. I hate writing blogs. They're super important because that's how clients get to know us even before they pick up the phone to call us. And so if we write a blog and people go, well, I don't know what to write about. Well, you have all this knowledge in your head. All we have to do is put it down on paper. We think some of the stuff that we know, everybody knows, but that's not true. So we can start with little things. What do you hear most likely when a client comes in? What are the top 10 questions that they're asking? What's therapy like? How long is this going to take? Take each of those and just write a simple blog about it. 500, 1,000 words. Get it up on your website. Because that's how clients read and review you. And they get a sense of who you are. Be who you are. Because if you're in a crowded market, or even if you're in a market with 1,000 therapists, you still would need to stand out just being you. And no one can be you. So write down what it is that you do and tell people how to help themselves. Right? It's like sharing inside secrets. Oops. The other thing about marketing or niching down is that once you figure out who you are, you can give community talks. So in our communities, we give talks to the PTAs. We give talks to local churches, women's groups. And recently we've started into daycares. And what we do with the daycares is we have them create a night where we come and do parenting stuff. We had one night that was super successful of bring your worst parenting nightmare and we'll help you. We had 125 people in the room. Yeah, we had to get back. Here, write them down and we'll get back to you. We couldn't answer all the questions. So those are things that we do in our area to market ourselves without really marketing ourselves. We're just doing what we do and who we are. I don't go there with the intention of marketing. I just go there and say, here, this is what we do. People go, oh, can I have a card? Absolutely. Right? So it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be this big, big thing that we have to do. Okay, we do need websites. I know many people don't want a website. I know that many people hate them. I know that many of us are not tech savvy. I get that. Then hire someone to do your website. Get someone to do it. Simple Practice, Brighter Visions does websites. They're pretty canned and they'll maintain them and they'll do SEO for you if you just are technologically can't do it. But there's other people out there that'll do websites for you. Find someone to help you. Now, we created ours through Squarespace. Pretty simple. Drag, drop, boom, boom, done. Add copy. If you're somewhat technologically have abilities, then I would try that first or try something like that. Right? You have to have a website. Again, clients are looking to try you on. Just think about they're sitting at home, it's 2 in the morning, they're not sleeping, they just had a fight with their spouse, and they want to do something to make their lives better. So they're trolling the web, right? The other thing is if you work with millennials or you work with people in an area that have high computer skills, if you are not on the internet, it's going to be a problem because they won't even call you to come in. So when you're speaking to the client on your website, speak into their pain. Yes?
I've been reading a lot about this marketing season, and one of the things that I'm seeing consistently is on therapy search returns, you've got a bunch of advertised people that come before you ever even can get there, and it's hard to even get on the first page of like a Google return anymore because people are paying Google to have their therapy ads there first. Are you seeing that in your work?
So the question is that when you open the website and do a therapy search, there's paid ads that push your ad down to, or push your information down on the page. To page 2 or 3 or less. Sometimes those are not paid ads. Sometimes they're because you don't have a Google map of your office. Okay, because usually they're only they put usually 2 banner ads at the top and then they put ads on the side. And then the other ones are ads, the other ones are listings of therapists or that have put their address in with Google and have a Google map. Through AdSense and AdWords. Mm-hmm. I think there's ways I would do it for free first before I would spend some money on AdWords. Now, we have used AdWords occasionally, and we were successful with it, but we also hired someone to create it for us because that wasn't my specialty. Yes?
I was going going to say, a friend of mine who does advertise told me the other day, she thinks it costs her about $37 a week.
Well, you have to think about the return on clients. How long do your clients stay? What's your average lifetime client worth? And then you can decide how much that might help you. Yes.
So that we should make sure we're on Google Maps. How do you do that?
If you Google how to put your address in as a directory, you could easily do that.
Do you have recommendations in terms of updating and maintaining SEO? If you don't want to do that yourself, because it's not your cup of tea, who are the people to do that?
The question is, how do you keep your SEO updated, and who do you get to do it if you're not good at it? I hire a virtual assistant to do my work for me, and it's a well worth investment because I'm a big practice. So for me to do all of it, I'd be doing that only and not therapy, because I do see therapy clients as well. The other thing that you should know, though, is every time you write a blog, it creates its own URL. And so that's a different page. That helps you rank in Google. So the more blogs that you have, the more successful and the higher ranking your website will be. And because Google sends out these bots, and they run around trying to figure out what everyone's websites are. And then it says, okay, now I get this, but there's been no activity in this website for over a year. Not very relevant. So now you're on page 8, page 9, page 10, how many pages there are. If you are constantly updating your content and putting new things on, which blogs are great, then your SEO, the ranking in Google, pops back up. Now in my area, we're on the first page most of the time, with Psychology Today and Good Therapy being before us, because they're gigantic. I can't keep up with them. But we do create new content and put new content on our site frequently, probably twice a week. We do something to the website. But if you can't maintain that, then hire someone to do it, or just be consistent and do it once a month or twice a month. As long as you do something and be consistent. Yes?
I was just going to say Psychology Today. Oh, hello. Hi. I just wanted to mention with Psychology Today, it's about $30 a month, and a lot of the insurance companies say go find someone on Psychology Today. So just for what that's worth.
Yeah, Psychology Today, Good Therapy, there's a few other ones as well that are good to be in directories for. There are some free directories. And you just list your name and your company and put stuff out there. But then what happens is people see it, they're going to go back to your website. And that's why you have to have your website looking pretty. The other thing that we have done is we've put happy people on our website. Because people come in crying and people come in upset, but we ultimately, the outcome is that they'll be happy when they leave. Some therapists have the opposite thought, and they put crying people or people who are in a lot of pain on their website. We just acknowledge that they're already in pain, and this is what you could look like when you're done. It's purely your own.
I wanted to say that I think one of the things that all therapists should do is have a professional photograph of yourself on your site. Don't put one from a party where you cut somebody out. Because if you were going to see a doctor, you expect that there is going to be a professional picture of the doctor on the site. You need a professional picture. And the other thing is that RECAMFT has counselingcalifornia.com, and it sometimes will come in second place behind Psychology Today. And if you're a RECAMFT member, you can have a listing on there for free. So be sure and get on there and update your listing.
Yes?
Quick ethical question. I work for a small nonprofit, Petaluma Hope Counseling. I'm trying to talk loud. No, it doesn't get. Just don't ask my wife. So I work at a small nonprofit in Petaluma Hope Counseling, and we have a little website, and it's got a little picture and a bio, and it's probably never updated. What about the ethics of me having a separate page for myself and the ups and downs of that? Thanks.
I think that's a good idea, but I think you need to ask your administration what their policies are on that. My folks, some of them have their own website and they have their own listing, but most of my folks, we have a bio on their page. Maybe your company could bio each of you. But I would talk to your administration before you put out a page.
I'm sure they'd be okay with it. I just wanted to know the upside and downside of that.
Oh, I think it'd be a great idea. I think it's a great idea because, one, your name is out there. And when people punch in your name, it helps. You can see what you're doing, tracking it. But as Laura said, yeah, make sure you have a picture on there. Because especially in Psychology Today, when you go down the list of Psychology Today, if you don't have a picture, people just go right past you. And I know we don't want people to look at us. We're very self-conscious as therapists. I understand that. We always think, well, my hair's not right. I need to lose 50 pounds, blah, 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 blah. Should I dye my hair? Should I not? They don't care. What they're looking at is your eyeballs and your face. Do I think you're going to relate to me as Miss Client? And then I read your blog, and then I look at your face again, and then I read some more, and I look at your face again, and I think, I might be able to work with that person. Or I go, not working with that one, next. Right? When I was looking for therapy for my son, I went through, 17 Psychology Today profiles. I gave him to him, and he reviewed them and looked at them. And he picked out the 2 that he felt, which were not the ones that I thought he was going to choose. He found something that he felt in one of those Psychology Today profiles that he wanted to do. So each of them speak differently to our different clients. So don't worry that people are going to be judging you, because they're not. You're either going to be their fit or you're not going to be their fit. And there's plenty of clients. There are plenty of clients in all of our communities. Okay? So make sure that when you have your specialty pages, you can use keywords to put in your description of who you are, what you're working at. How I use keywords is I usually write the article thinking of keywords in mind, but they have to be naturally put in there. So I put them in for my specialty, but then I'll go back and reread it and see if I can add a couple more. So I usually put 6 to 8 keywords in each blog article. I always put a bio down below on the page. The other is that there's a contact information number there, and there's my website there. And it makes it easier for people to get a hold of you if they want to. I don't know how many websites I've gone on or how many blogs I've read, and I'm like, well, how do I contact this person? I have no idea. And then I have to search. And if I have to search, then I'm going to go to somebody else. Right? Because it's going to be hard for me. And I'm already in pain, and I'm already barely making it. And now you're making your phone number hard. Right? So when you do that, but you can also do a Google search to see what are the keys terms that people are searching for. So this little diagram here is we were searching for counseling for ADHD. And it gave us a list right here of all of the other things that people were searching for when they were looking for ADHD. And so we started incorporating these additional keywords into some of our blogs. But we want to make sure it's native in the sense that we're not just sticking them in there to make Google happy. Okay? We want to make them be useful. And Google will always give you samples down here when you're doing a search for a particular niche. The other thing you can use is Google Keywords. You have to have a Google account, but it's free, and you go in and you type, in this case you'd say Santa Rosa Counseling for Teens, and see what words pops up. What are people actually searching for in your area to look for that kind of a therapist? And then you take those terms and you use them, sprinkle them throughout your website and then on your blog articles.